Hi, I'm Mark, and this is The Country Life with Columbus Mark, where I try to give you a lighthearted look at life in the country. And today, we're in someplace special, the only museum in the United States dedicated to the history of the United States flag. So this is Robert Williamson, and we're in my hometown of Columbus, North Carolina, a town of only about 1,000 people.
About 1,000, yep.
And this small town has not one but two museums, a few small parks,
Right.
some really incredible places, the Polk County seat, but we're today in the House of Flags.
We are.
And this is the director.
Yeah.
So Robert, tell me a little bit about this place.
Well, the museum's interesting because we are the only House of Flags museum in America. We opened our doors on September 8th, 2001.
Which is
3 days before the terrorist attacks.
That's right.
So,
right, before.
Before, yeah.
Wow.
So, and we were in Green Creek, which is about 15 miles from where we are in Columbus. We're only open on Saturday for about 2 hours. George Schofield was the director then. He started the museum, and he'd sit down there whether anybody came or not to invite people to look at the flags. Well, you can imagine the flag sales, which was a big fundraiser for the museum. And after 2001, flag sales went berserk. So George sold flags out of the trunk of his car to support the Flag Museum.
And I remember seeing it when it was there. It was a very old school that he had taken out of service, and community center was there, and the House of Flags. And it was not anything like it is here.
Oh no, it was an old building, no heat, no air, no restroom, no running water. We had about 200 flags and lots of bugs.
Probably more bugs than flags.
Yeah, right. So, so we were blessed to be able to, repurpose this old fire department building in Columbus.
This was the Columbus Fire Department.
It was the town hall, the Columbus Fire Department, and the county maintenance shop was here for a while, and it turned into storage. So we leased it from the county for $1 a year. We raised about $150,000 from individuals and private foundations to repurpose this old building. Huge amount of volunteer labor starting in February 2011. We gutted the building, had our grand opening on November 11th, 2011 at 11 a.m. So it's 11 a.m., 11th month, 11th day in 2011 we opened up in this facility.
And you've been with this since the days of George Schofield,
Yes,
right?
yeah. Okay. I got affiliated with the museum about 2003 or 4, helped George do placards for the flags, so he didn't have to walk around and tell people about every flag, so people could read about the flags too and have self-guided tours.
And this place is covered with flags.
Oh, we have about 300 flags on display.
At least.
And about another 100 in our archives.
So how is it laid out?
Well, it's laid out in 4 basic rooms.
One question first. Do you have a bathroom now?
Yeah, we have a bathroom now. Yeah.
That's good to know.
In fact, we have 2.
My age,
we have 2.
Two would come in handy.
They're right there.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I see it.
Just off camera.
All right, there you go. So
we have 4
how's it
basic
laid out?
rooms.
Okay.
And we added a front lobby to give us handicap access off the street. So that front lobby is the Defenders of Freedom lobby, where we have our military branch flags, the retired military flags, and the religious flags. The second room is the Birth of a Nation room, which picks up with the early explorers, the Revolutionary War era. Then the third room picks up with the Price of Liberty room, which is War of 1812 through World War I, II, and so on. The next part of that room is the presidential flag history. It starts out with George Washington, our Commander-in-Chief, and goes up through Eisenhower, which gave us our 50-star presidential flag that we have today. And that's what's behind us, is the presidential exhibit. The fourth room is the USA room. Naturally, USA flags. All 27 official US flags, all the state flags and the territory flags, plus we've recently added the flags of the Cherokee Nation and the Eastern Band of the Cherokee.
And you told me there are times you have to have a flag fabricated for this museum.
Yes, yes. We have, all of our flags are authentic reproductions. So that means you can't buy some of these flags, so we have them custom made by flag makers around the United States, in some cases around the world, to our specifications, to as close as we can replicate what the historical documents said the flag looked like. We just added the Fort Mercer flag, which is a fort on the Delaware River during the Revolutionary War. They had 2 forts across the river. Fort Mercer was in New Jersey, and the only description of the flag was in notes, contemporaneous notes. And the flag has 13 8-pointed stars, and the stripes are blue and white.
What's the 8 point?
Well, there were no rules about stars.
Okay, so
there are flags in this museum that have 5-pointed stars, 6-pointed stars, 7-pointed stars, and 8-pointed stars.
And you pointed out one that was 7-pointed I never even heard of.
Yeah, that's the Bennington flag.
So you actually mentioned a word that has to do with someone who studies, is an expert of flags. What's that word?
Flag geek?
Nope, that's not it. Started with a...
Vexillologist.
There you go. Say that again.
Vexillologist.
Okay.
Vexil is Latin for flag or banner, and ology, of course, is Greek for science and study.
I bet nobody out there knew that.
So I'm a vexillologist, which is a flag geek. A vexillographer is somebody who designs and draws flags. A vexophile is somebody who loves flags.
And you're all of those, probably.
Yeah,
that's why I designed a flag yourself?
Flag geek. No, I don't design flags.
So how did you get interested as a kid?
Well, I grew up, and I've got a picture of me 2 years old, standing in front of my grandfather's flag. And my grandfather Williamson, Leon Williamson, would say that any day is Flag Day. And he would fly this big 5 by 8 foot flag in front of his house in the main street of town on random days.
Was that in Michigan?
In Michigan, southern Michigan, yeah. The town of Tecumseh, named after Chief Tecumseh.
Okay. And so that's where you can trace your roots to your...
Yeah, ever since then I've had a warm spot in my heart for the flag of our nation.
And when you moved here, was the museum already started or no?
Oh, I moved here in 1988.
You say you've been 35 years
yeah,
or so.
Yeah.
So that was before.
Yeah, 86.
So you must have been thrilled when you heard Mr. Schofield talking about starting.
Well, I did. Yeah, my wife and I started the ice cream shop here in town, Scoops and More.
Oh.
So we started that, and we met half of Polk County through the ice cream shop. Well, George would bring bus tours into town to see the museum and other things. He'd go up White Oak Mountain, and we'd sell him ice cream. And he said, well, I started this museum. Well, my wife got involved with that, and so the next thing you know, I'm helping George make placards for the flags. So I got recruited early on. We then formed a board of directors, became a 501c3 nonprofit organization, raised lots of money, like I said, about $150,000 to repurpose this old building, first floor and second floor.
That's 6,000 square feet.
It's about 6,000 square feet.
And most of it, I mean, they have a meeting room, even it has flags.
Oh yeah, there's flags everywhere.
There's flags everywhere, and you have a little gift shop.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
And I know your hours is hard now because of the pandemic and all that. Hopefully we're getting out of that, but typically people have to make an appointment, or is
well,
it drop
right
in
now
hours?
we're open for self-guided tours on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're now recruiting and have recruited about 4 new docents and tour guides.
Fantastic.
And we want to be back in our regular schedule, which is Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 1, and then Saturday 10 to 4. However, on our website, houseofflags.org, or email me at flagmuseum@gmail.com, we can arrange group tours, individual tours, almost any time.
So you still have school kids from around
well,
coming
we have a lot of homeschoolers coming through.
Okay.
Homeschool groups, church groups, retirees, retirement homes, different veterans organizations. We're going to have some other groups coming through this year. It's too early to mention who they're going to be, but they've arranged for, starting April through September, an ongoing tour coming through here.
Well, in my YouTube series, I'm calling this Local Treasures, and this is definitely one of those. And you would be one of those yourself. But I mean,
I'm an old flag geek.
It is an amazing museum. This town's 1,000 people.
Yeah.
At most.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to see what people can do when they put their minds to it, and they have to raise money, of course, and that's probably pretty hard.
Yeah, and the fundraising also includes sponsoring the flags. Every flag in this museum is sponsored in honor of somebody, or in memory of somebody, or in memory of an event. So you'll see sponsorship on all the flags in this museum.
That's fantastic. So what else would you want our viewers to know?
Well, probably, if you've never seen the history of the U.S. flag, you've got to see this, because my favorite era is the Revolutionary War era. That's when the rattlesnake flags came into being. And we have all of those on display. There's some rattlesnake flags that are absolutely going to blow your mind when you hear the story about the flags of the United Train of Artillery from Providence, Rhode Island. It's amazing story.
He knows all these stories too. He was telling me some. And
yeah,
we may get one on tape.
We may get one.
Yeah. And he knows the history of every single state flag and how they've changed over the years. Has one in North Carolina changed much over the years?
Our first flag was our flag of secession, 1861. So on May 20th, 1867, we became the Republic of North Carolina. And our flag is similar to the one today, but not quite. That was our first flag. That was through the Civil War. And then after the war, we did not get our official flag that we have today until 1885.
Really?
So there's a long time that we were flagless. The same one we're using today.
So Robert, will you take me on a tour?
Absolutely, I'll take you on a tour.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's go on that tour.
Okay, let's do that. Well, this is in the Birth of a Nation room, our second room in the museum. And I want to talk about the Fort Moultrie flag. And this is the fort on Sullivan's Island. This was the flag that Colonel Moultrie flew. When he designed the flag, it's got the word Liberty. Sometimes it's in the crescent, sometimes it's here. But he said it's the blue of the uniforms, and the crescent is the symbol on their hat. It's not a moon. It's a symbol on the hat. And the symbol is called a gorget or gorget, G-O-R-G-E-T. And it looks like this. It's a badge that's worn around the neck. We have a portrait of George Washington, French and Indian War, and he has that badge around his neck. It basically like the sheriff's badge, the police badge. It says, I'm on duty, I'm a commissioned officer. Well, that's what this symbol is. So that is on today's South Carolina flag. People think it's a crescent moon. Well,
I always thought that.
No, there's nothing in our history that says a moon is a symbol of heraldry or of our flags. It's that gorget or gorget, but somewhere in history, some artist got creative and said, you know, a moon doesn't look like this, it looks like this. So they rotated it to look like a crescent moon. So this is the precursor to the South Carolina flag. They put a palmetto tree in the middle of it because the fort on Sullivan's Island, now known as Fort Moultrie, was built out of palmetto logs. And during the beginning of the Revolutionary War, when the British tried to capture Charleston, they tried to bombard the fort and the cannonballs would bounce off the palmetto logs because they're spongy. So that became the state tree of South Carolina. And it's on the flag today, along with the crescent, the gorget. There's movement afoot in South Carolina to turn it back so the points are up, like the gorget that hung around the neck. Part of flag history in our flag museum in the Birth of a Nation will go back to 1763. In 1763, the Sons of Liberty adopted a symbol of freedom that was the Liberty Cap. Simple slouch hat, Liberty Cap, and a Liberty pole. So what got me started on this as a vexillologist is this flag from the Battle of White Plains in the Revolutionary War. There's a sword, liberty or death, and there's this stick with a cap on it. Well, quick research in the Smithsonian and Library of Congress revealed that this was a Liberty Cap, kind of fell into obscurity. However, look at where it is in our history. It is on the state seal of North Carolina and about 7 other states.
Really?
This flag over here is the flag and the seal of the United States Senate. And right center top is a Liberty Cap. It's a symbol. Our first symbol of freedom was a Liberty Cap. It's on the Philadelphia Light Horse. This is the official cavalry group that escorted George Washington. It's on the Liberty Cap and pole here. Let's go up here. It's on the state of West Virginia flag, the state of Idaho, the state of New York, the state of New Jersey, and the most interesting used Liberty Cap is the United States Army flag. It's on the crest, the coat of arms, and seal of the United States Army, right on top of an upturned sword. Now in this flag, it's arms and armor. Upturned sword, Liberty Cap. Above the Liberty Cap is a rattlesnake. On that rattlesnake is a banner that says, "This will defend liberty." This is the Liberty Cap. And that's one of many stories that flags have to tell in the House of Flags Museum.
So Robert, thanks for having me in.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
The House of Flags Museum, Columbus, North Carolina.
Absolutely. And admission is free.
Admission is free. Donations welcome, but no charge. Come on in. I'm Mark. This is The Country Life with Columbus Mark. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Come back often. Welcome to my neighborhood.